In 8 months' time, surfing will make its Olympic debut. With only 2 spots available for each nation, the competition for places is high. One of those who will definitely be in Tokyo will be Hawaii's Carissa Moore. The 27-year-old recently won the WSL World title, securing her place at the 2020 Games, and will head to Japan as one of the favorites for gold. A prodigious talent, Moore was being tipped as a future world champion even from a young age. Back in 2004, aged just 12, she was already being touted as a generational surfer who could go on to rewrite surfing's record books.
When I ride a good wave, I feel really excited about it, and it just feels like you're free and you have no worries in the world.
The Hawaiian native had been surfing since the age of 4. Under the guidance of her father, Chris, Carissa was taking on and defeating girls and even boys much older than she was.
She had potential maybe when she was about 8 or 9, I think. You know, she started perfecting or mastering a lot of core moves and stuff. I think her talent comes from a number of things. I think she's very graceful just as a person, and then she practices a lot, and I think that, you know, with the combination of that and a little bit of instruction on how to do it correctly, I think all those things together make up for her talent.
Almost a decade on, and Moore had established herself as one of the finest female surfers in the world. In just 4 years as a professional, she had achieved many of the things that she dreamt about when she was growing up.
You know, looking back when I was about 11 years old or 12 years old, I think that was when surfing started to get serious for me. It was that age when, you know, I really fell in love with competitive surfing, and I was like, you know, I think it was around that age that I told my dad, hey, this is something I would really like to do for a living and see how far we can take it. And so, you know, I definitely think now I still am just as in love with the sport, and I'm just having, you know, as much fun. And but I definitely think that I'm more involved with the competitive side of surfing. I definitely take it more seriously, and I maybe think a lot more than I used to about it. And so, no, it's changed, but in many ways it's stayed the same.
In her debut season on the Women's World Tour, she had made quite the impact. She'd won 2 events, finished 3rd overall, and was named Rookie of the Year. Moore would continue her upward trajectory the following year as she dominated women's surfing, winning 3 events en route to becoming the sport's youngest ever female world champion.
Winning my first world title in 2011 was the craziest feeling, you know. It was amazing, but I don't think I took the time to really appreciate the world title. Like, I definitely was super excited about it, but I'm one of those people who, I check something off and then I'm like, okay, what's the next thing? Let's just keep working. And now I look back, I'm like, geez, like I could have, you know, really just sat there for a second and been like, wow, this is really neat. And, you know, the year after I ended up getting 3rd, and that was a rough year for me, just trying to like figure out how to chase my 2nd world title and how to deal with being on top, and I'm really enjoying this year, which is, my 4th year on tour, I think, which is crazy. And I'm excited to be back in the race. I just feel comfortable and I'm having fun and I'm not thinking so much. So hopefully it falls into place.
In 2013, Moore was already a member of surfing's elite, and the then 21-year-old had developed into one of the most popular figures in the sport. Her time on the Women's Championship Tour had also helped her mature as an athlete.
I started surfing on the CT 4 years ago, and I definitely think over the past 4 years I've grown a lot as a person and as a competitive surfer. Coming onto the tour as a rookie, I've had to surf all these new places and learn how to surf with the same 17 girls in all these different spots, and it was a different rhythm that I had to get used to, and I was definitely a little lost in the newbie, and over the years I definitely feel like I know the girls. I've been to the spots now for 2 or 3 times, and it's always new and ever-changing with Mother Nature, and that's what makes surfing so unique and special, is that it's never the same. But I definitely feel like I've gotten more confident, finding myself on tour.
Viewed as one of the most progressive surfers in women's surfing, Moore was being regarded as the girl most likely to bridge surfing's gender divide. Whilst discrepancies still existed between the men's and women's tours in terms of prize money and sponsorship, on the water at least, the top female surfers were no longer being overshadowed by their male counterparts.
In my opinion, the women on the CT are surfing better than they ever have, and it's so exciting. It makes every heat, you have to bring your best to every heat, otherwise you're not going to make it. And I think that makes it really exciting for spectators, but I also think that some of the spots and the venues where our events are held aren't the best, and so unfortunately that brings the level down sometimes. For example, at Bells this year, everyone was like, oh my gosh, the girls are surfing so well, and I'm like, well, if you give us good waves, we do that all the time, and so sometimes that can be a little frustrating, but I have no doubt that the ASP is in good hands, and I think next year we'll see a difference and it'll continue to get better. And it's really cool because all the girls have great personalities and are overall great people and are really good surfers, so that makes, I think, our tour really attractive.
Fast forward to 2019, and Moore is now a 4-time world champion and the most successful Hawaiian surfer of all time. The Honolulu native will be one of 2 surfers, alongside Caroline Marks, representing the USA at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, where the sport will be making its Games debut. It caps a remarkable journey for the Hawaiian.
Oh my gosh, that is the coolest thing ever. And my really good friend Duncan Scott, and he was also my coach at South Africa, he's been talking a lot about it just coming full circle and following in Duke's footsteps, and it gives me chills just thinking about it, because I hope to go there and spread the aloha and the aloha spirit, and I'm really, really proud and honored to represent the USA, but in particular Hawaii.
From precocious youngster picked for stardom to standard bearer for women's surfing, Carissa Moore has seemingly done it all in her career to date. If she can continue to produce the form and style she has throughout her career, an Olympic gold medal may be the next title she adds to her ever-growing list of accolades.